Good evening, and welcome to the AJP Northeast Asia market close. All three major markets finished higher today, but Japan set a fresh record, Korea barely budged, and China rallied on almost everything except the chip names everyone has been watching. The same force is still driving this region, the global build-out of artificial intelligence and the chips behind it. But today, each market sat at a different stage of that trade. Japan rode it cleanly to a new all-time high. Korea leaned on a thin slice of it. Its memory champions soared, yet the index hardly moved because its largest companies stood still. And China rotated beyond it, rising broadly on blue chip heavyweights while its hottest AI chip name fell. There was also a geopolitical test that none of them failed. The day after Iran threatened to reclose the Strait of Hormuz, all three still rose, with oil-dependent Japan leading. For now, the AI bid is louder than the oil worry. The KOSPI closed up about 0.7%, near 9,115. And that modest gain is itself the story. Underneath it, the memory complex was on fire. SK Hynix jumped more than 5.5% to a record close around 2,919,000 won, roughly $1,915. Its market value briefly topping 2,000 trillion won. The standout was SK Square, the holding company that owns the Hynix stake, up nearly 11% to around 1,970,000 won, near $1,290, as a leverage play on the same move. But here's the catch. Samsung Electronics, the heaviest weight in the index, finished essentially flat, around 353,500 won, near $232. The market rose only slightly because its biggest stock sat out the whole advance, is resting on a narrow band of memory names. Two tests loom this week: MSCI's annual market classification review tomorrow and Micron's earnings later in the week. The Shanghai Composite was the strongest mover in percentage terms, up about 1.5% to around 4,150, returning from Friday's Dragon Boat holiday with momentum. But the leadership had quietly rotated. The largest stock, liquor giant Kweichow Mutai, rose more than 2%, a broad blue chip advance rather than a technology story. And within chips, the market split. SMIC, China's largest foundry, and the key name in its self-sufficiency push, climbed around 3%. But Cambricon, the marquee AI chip designer that led the rally a week ago, fell more than 3% on profit-taking. China's gains broadened out of the narrow AI trade and into the wider market. Whether that is a healthier, more durable advance or a sign the hottest names are cooling is the question worth watching. Japan was the day's leader. The Nikkei 225 rose nearly 2% to around 72,570, a brand new all-time high, and it got there the hard way, opening lower and climbing back all session. Chip equipment names did the heavy lifting. Tokyo Electron, the index's single biggest component, gained more than 3% to around 77,800 yen. SoftBank, the AI investment heavyweight, added nearly 2%, and Advantest rose more than 1%. The striking part is the backdrop. Japan is the most oil-dependent of these three economies. Yet it led the region the day after Iran's threat to reclose the Strait of Hormuz, a sign of how completely the AI infrastructure trade now overrides the old oil and inflation reflexes. Even with the Bank of Japan's rate now up at 1%. So one engine, three different stages. Japan is riding the trade cleanly to records. Korea is leaning on a dangerously thin slice of it, its gain propped up by memory while its largest company stalls. China is broadening beyond it. The honest question into tomorrow is whether Korea's narrowness is strength or fragility, and whether China's rotation means this trade is maturing or starting to cool. We'll be back tomorrow for MSCI's classification verdict on Korea, and to see whether Japan can hold its new record. If this briefing helps you make sense of the region, please subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thank you for watching AJP.